Bao Island Storyteller, Journey to the West. Hey kids, welcome to Bao Island. On Bao Island, every story has a taste. Today's taste is cold clean milk from a cow that was standing in the field this morning. This episode, we're in Luye, Taitung. Today's story, Sun Wukong Goes Home.
Welcome back to the Bao Island bus. We're in Luye Township, Taitung County, and I've driven us up from the Rift Valley floor onto the Luye Plateau, a wide grass highland at about 300 meters above sea level. Look up.
Looking up, gasping, there are people in the air. Paragliders, the parachute wing things, just floating above us in huge slow circles. Red, yellow, green, orange, all against the blue sky.
Luye Plateau is considered one of the best paragliding locations in Asia. The terrain creates reliable updrafts, rising columns of warm air that keep the gliders aloft for a long time.
It looks so peaceful from down here. Like they're not doing anything, just drifting. But they must be making tiny adjustments the whole time.
That's exactly right. You're constantly reading the air, the wind, the angle. It looks still from the ground. Up there, it's constant work.
And below the plateau, you can see the whole Rift Valley. Rice paddies, tiny green squares, stretching between the two mountain ranges.
Luye sits between the paddies below and the sky above. Tea gardens on the slopes, a famous ranch at the base.
Like it's perched between two worlds. The ground and the air. The past and the future.
That's actually how many people describe Luye. A place that feels suspended.
And today's story is about a return to a place that's been left behind. A home that someone left, and is finally going back to. There's something here, something you can only taste on Bao Island, where paragliders drift between earth and sky, and the whole valley spreads below you like a quilt of green and gold.
Excited, what is it? Tell me, tell me.
Take a guess.
Mouth full, let me take a bite first. With gusto, Chulu Ranch. Right here at the base of the plateau. This is the famous one.
The legendary dairy ranch.
They had their own cows, Taitung cows, grazing on the slopes right behind the shop, and they make fresh milk ice cream on site. I have a scoop right now and I need a moment. Pause, okay. It's just cream. Pure, clean, slightly sweet cream that has been frozen into the smoothest thing I have ever put in my mouth. There's no artificial vanilla smell. No cloying sugar. Just the clean, direct taste of milk from a cow that was standing in that field over there this morning.
That's what Farm Direct means. No storage, no processing, straight to the scoop.
It tastes like milk the way milk should taste. Rich and cold and just sweet enough. One scoop and you feel like everything is going to be okay. Which is appropriate for today's story, because things are not going to be okay for a while.
Chapter 28. After Tang Monk dismissed him, Sun Wukong flew east. Across the mountains, across the sea, back toward the familiar coast of the eastern continent. He was heading home, to Flower Fruit Mountain, Water Curtain Cave, the mountain he'd been king of since before he had a name.
He must have mixed feelings. He was sent away. He's going back to the only other place he belongs.
As he came over the mountain, he slowed. Something looked wrong.
What do you mean wrong?
From the air, Flower Fruit Mountain should look a certain way, the waterfall, the trees, the caves, the monkeys playing on the rocks. Instead, he saw smoke. And below the smoke, hunters' camps. Dozens of them. Fires, nets strung between trees, pens of captured animals.
Hunters?
While Sun Wukong had been in heaven, then imprisoned under the mountain for 500 years, then on the journey west, while he'd been gone for all that time, hunters had moved into the mountain. They were trapping animals, cutting trees, setting fires to drive out the game. The monkeys who still lived there were hiding in the deepest caves, thin and frightened.
Quietly, his home. Someone moved into his home.
This is the first time Sun Wukong has seen Flower Fruit Mountain since the beginning of the journey. And it looks like this. He landed in the middle of the hunters' camp. They didn't know what to make of him at first, a small figure in monk's robes, landing from the sky. Then he pulled the needle from his ear, let it grow into a staff, and said, "Leave."
Did they leave?
Not at first. There were dozens of them. They thought it was one monk.
One monk. With a staff that grows to any size.
He drove every last hunter off the mountain, down the slopes, off the paths, out of every camp and trap and enclosure. He broke their nets. He kicked over their fires. He released the animals from the pens.
That is very satisfying.
It didn't take long. When you're Sun Wukong, driving out a few hundred hunters is not the hard part of the day.
Then what's the hard part?
When the hunters were gone, he walked through the mountain slowly. He saw what had been done to it. Trees cut down to stumps. Springs blocked or diverted. Caves collapsed or burned. The waterfall still ran, but the cave behind it, his cave, had been damaged. Stones had fallen in. It was still standing, but it wasn't the same.
Quietly, he was gone for too long.
He sat on the peak and looked out over the damage and was very still for a while. The monkeys came out of the deep caves to find him. The older ones, the ones who remembered him from before the journey, recognized him immediately and ran to him. The younger ones, who'd only heard stories, hung back.
Very softly, they were telling him what he missed.
Story pause. We're walking through the tea gardens on the slopes below the plateau. The rows of tea bushes stretch all the way to the tree-line.
The leaves are so small and precise. Each bush is trimmed to exactly the same height, and the rows are perfectly spaced. It's orderly in a way that feels natural, not forced.
The oolong is grown at altitude, which makes the leaves develop more slowly and accumulate more aromatic compounds. The same leaf, grown faster in warmer lowland conditions, would taste completely different.
The cold nights, the slow days, the mist, all of it shapes the tea. The tea farmers here have been cultivating these slopes for generations.
There's something about tending something slowly. Not everything changes at once, but the shape of it develops over years.
That's what Sun Wukong did with Flower Fruit Mountain. The hunters were gone. The damage was real. But the mountain was still there. The waterfall still ran. The cave was still standing, if damaged. He stayed. He started repairing.
Because it's still home even when it's been changed.
The old monkeys told Sun Wukong what had happened. In his absence, during the 500 years under the mountain and the years of the journey, the mountain had gradually lost its protection. When Sun Wukong was there, his reputation kept everyone away. No hunter, no demon, no passing army would touch Flower Fruit Mountain. The moment he was gone for long enough, people started to forget.
His reputation was the protection. Not a wall. Not soldiers. Just everyone knowing not to mess with the great sage's mountain.
And when the great sage was reliably absent, that protection faded. The hunters came in. The young monkeys had grown up in fear, hiding in caves, watching the mountain be stripped.
How many monkeys were left?
A fraction of the original population. Many had fled. Some had been captured. The community was fractured.
With feeling, he didn't just miss things. His absence actually caused damage. The mountain needed him to be there.
There's a weight in that. He left because he wanted immortality, because he wanted to be the greatest, because he wanted adventure. And while he was gone, the thing that was most purely his own, the place that made him who he was being taken apart piece by piece.
Some things only hold together when you stay.
Quietly, how does he feel about that?
The text doesn't give him a long speech about it. He just gets to work. He starts rebuilding the cave, reorganizing the remaining monkeys, establishing patrols. He's doing what he can with what's left. That's what you do. Meanwhile, on the other side of the continent, Tang Monk is walking west with only Pigsy, Sandy, and the white horse. No Sun Wukong.
How are they managing?
Not well, honestly. Pigsy is lazy and wants to stop every few hours. Sandy is steady but not a leader. The white horse carries Tang Monk's luggage. Without Sun Wukong going ahead to scout, without his combat ability, without his eye for danger, every step forward is slower and more uncertain.
Does Tang Monk regret it?
He keeps walking. Whether or not he's having second thoughts, he doesn't say. He keeps reciting his sutras, keeps moving westward. This is important about his character. Tang Monk is not someone who turns back. Once he's decided on a direction, he goes.
Even when he might have made a mistake.
Even then. There's something admirable about that and something frustrating about it in equal measure.
That is a very accurate description of certain adults I know.
Laughing, the party comes to a region called the Black Pine Forest. Dense, dark, fragrant with pine resin. The road narrows. The light gets thin.
Quietly, something bad is in there.
We found a tea shop at the edge of the plateau. Bao has discovered the oolong tea jelly.
Excitedly, oolong tea jelly. They make incredibly strong Luye oolong tea, set it with agar into a soft jelly, cut it into cubes, and serve it with condensed milk and brown sugar syrup.
What does it taste like?
You know how oolong has that flowery, slightly roasted depth? Imagine that flavor concentrated into something you can chew. The jelly is soft but firm, not wobbly like regular jelly, more like a tender tofu. And when you pour the condensed milk over it, the bitterness of the tea and the richness of the milk hit each other and balance perfectly.
Luye oolong is grown at altitude, which gives it more complexity than lowland tea. Cold, delicate, intense.
Chewing contentedly, something that looks like dessert but feels like calm. Something soft that holds together even under pressure.
Gently, like the story.
Pausing mid-chew, oh, that's going somewhere dark, isn't it?
Let's go back to the Black Pine Forest. The road through the Black Pine Forest is narrow and the party moves slowly. Pigsy is grumbling. Sandy is quiet. And then, without any warning, Tang Monk is gone.
Gone how?
One moment he's on the white horse. The next, the horse is riderless and skittish, the pines are closing in, and Tang Monk is nowhere on the road.
A monster took him?
A monster called the Monster of Peepa Cave has been watching the road. This demon, one of many they'll encounter in this region, has been waiting for a chance to get Tang Monk's flesh. In Sun Wukong's absence, the chance finally came.
Without Sun Wukong scanning ahead, the monster could get close enough.
The monster swept Tang Monk off the horse and into the forest before anyone could react. Pigsy and Sandy and the white horse stood on the road looking at the spot where the monk had just been.
Slowly, and now what? Can Pigsy and Sandy fight a monster?
They try. They push into the forest after the demon. But this monster is in his own territory, the cave system under the black pine forest, and he's had time to prepare. Pigsy gets pushed back. Sandy can't breach the cave entrance. The white horse can't follow at all.
They need Sun Wukong.
They need Sun Wukong.
And the person who said, "One more incident and I'll send you away," is now in a cave because the person he sent away isn't here.
Quietly, Tang Monk made a human mistake. He let his eyes override what he knew about Sun Wukong's character.
The three of them sit on the road outside the black pine forest in the dark. The horse is nervous. Pigsy is trying to figure out what to do.
What are the options?
Option 1, they go back east the way they came and find help. But who? They're in the middle of nowhere. Option 2, they keep attacking the cave. But they've tried and failed. Option 3, one of them goes to find Sun Wukong.
Knowingly, Pigsy has to go get Sun Wukong. The person who whispered in Tang Monk's ear. He has to go ask Sun Wukong to come back.
Sandy points this out, fairly directly. He says, "Pigsy, you are the one who spoke against Sun Wukong to the master. You should be the one to bring him back."
How does Pigsy take that?
Pigsy makes several excuses. He says the journey is too long. He says Sun Wukong might not listen to him. He says he doesn't know where Flower Fruit Mountain is. Sandy answers each excuse patiently and clearly. And eventually, with very little grace, Pigsy agrees to go.
Almost laughing, I appreciate that Pigsy never pretends to be noble about it.
He's grumbling the entire time he takes off into the sky.
Luye has a reputation for feeling suspended. Not slow exactly, more like lifted. The plateau sits above the valley and below the sky, and the pace here is genuinely different from the cities.
I noticed that. When we were walking through the tea gardens, nobody was rushing. The paragliders above us are drifting. Even the cows at Chulu Ranch seemed relaxed.
Luye has fewer people, more space, a different relationship with time. Things happen when they happen. The valley is there every day. The mountains are there every day. There's less urgency.
Do you think that's why the story in this chapter feels so heavy? Because we're in a place that feels suspended, and the story is about everything has slowed to a stop because the person who moved everything is gone?
That's a very thoughtful read.
Quietly, it feels like when someone important leaves a group and suddenly everyone realizes how much work that person was doing that seemed invisible.
That's exactly what this chapter is about. The journey doesn't just get harder without Sun Wukong. It stops. Tang Monk gets captured. Pigsy is making excuses. Sandy is worried. The white horse is standing still.
The white horse is the saddest part, somehow. Just standing there.
The white horse carries the sutras and the saddle. He's been with Tang Monk the whole journey. And now Tang Monk is gone and there's nothing he can do.
Very softly, he'll come up in the next episode. The horse. He does something.
He does. Next time. Let's go back to Flower Fruit Mountain for a moment. Sun Wukong is working on repairing his home. He's gathered the remaining monkeys. He's setting things right. And then Pigsy shows up.
Pigsy of all people.
landing heavily, out of breath, looking around at Flower Fruit Mountain with wide eyes, because the cave behind the waterfall, the original stone furniture, the whole mythology of the great sage's birthplace, it's real, and Pigsy is standing in it for the first time.
What does Pigsy say?
He starts by being flattering, which is very Pigsy. He talks about how important Sun Wukong is. How nobody else can do what he does. He inflates Sun Wukong's ego quite deliberately.
Does Sun Wukong fall for it?
Sun Wukong is not stupid. He cuts through the flattery pretty quickly and asks, "Why are you really here?" And Pigsy, cornered, tells the truth. Tang Monk has been captured. Sandy can't free him. They're stuck.
What does Sun Wukong say?
He says, "The monk dismissed me. Gave me a letter. Told me never to come back. And now you come to ask me to come back."
Quietly, what is he feeling right now?
The text gives us something rare, a long pause before he answers. And then he says, "Tell me more about where he was taken."
He's going.
He was always going. The moment he heard his master was in danger.
He doesn't say he forgives. He doesn't perform nobility about it. He just asks for the information he needs.
Moved, that's such a real way to love someone. You don't make them explain. You don't make them apologize first. You just ask where to go.
We're back on the plateau. The last paragliders of the day are coming into land as the sun drops behind the mountains.
They drift down so slowly. Like they don't want to come back to Earth.
Paragliders can stay up for hours if the thermals are right. But eventually the air cools, the updrafts fade, and you have to come down.
They don't force it. They read the air, they adjust, and when the time is right, they land. Perfect patience and perfect timing.
That's very different from Sun Wukong.
Completely different. But in this chapter, Sun Wukong does something like the gliders. He stays on his mountain. He repairs what he can. He doesn't go running after Tang Monk to prove a point. He waits until he's asked.
And then he moves.
Fast.
Time to wrap up. The sun is setting behind the mountains and the valley below is turning gold.
Today we came to Luye, the paragliding plateau, the tea gardens, the ranch with the cold clean milk ice cream and the delicate oolong tea jelly. We watched people drift above us reading the air. And we followed two stories at once, Sun Wukong returning to a damaged home and doing the slow work of rebuilding it, and Tang Monk moving forward through a dark forest and paying the price of going alone.
The mountain was damaged because he left. And the monk got captured because he was sent away.
Absence has costs. In both directions.
What's next?
Next time we head into Taitung City, the forest park, the railway arts village, the unhurried capital of eastern Taiwan. We'll have Bainan pig blood soup and Chen family mochi. And the story, a princess who has been waiting 13 years. A negotiation that fails. And Pigsy, who has to swallow his pride and ask for help.
Pigsy goes to get Sun Wukong. Again.
Softly, home is still home, even when it needs rebuilding. On Bao Island, stories grow up with you.